Hello, good morning, and welcome to Joy News Interactive here on the Joy News channel. Also on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. On YouTube, we are My Joy Online TV. You can catch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with Joy News on TV. I'm Peter Sibili. Thank you so much for your company. Now let's talk about the much talked about budget. The Akufo-Addo-led government says it has succeeded in realigning the Ghanaian economy from one that is focused on taxation to one focused on production, adding that no new taxes will be introduced in the coming year, though there will be a review of existing ones. Presenting the 2020 budget statement Wednesday, Mr. Oforiatta, the finance minister, cited a chain of taxes struck out by the government since 2017, and he says he has directly or indirectly put an amount of 12.2 billion cedis into the pockets of many Ghanaians. A lot of you have been reacting to this, and we'll be getting your comments on Facebook. This one is from @Probus, who says, why is everybody talking about free education? Is it the only policy implemented by the Nana Akufo-Addo and his government? Why not talk about other sectors? NPP is a joke. Laura Abraham Ter says, I think the finance minister is dreaming with these hardships, for example, closing banks, closing radio stations, interfering in public education, and government is telling me he has put money into my pocket. He deserves no term. This one is from @Obert Nkwansa, who says, well, in terms of free SHS, I would say I have had considerable amount. I would have parted with saved. There are other benefits too. Chitchat says, people definitely die having benefited from this amount. Ghanaians are not that truthful, even when they know they have enjoyed something. At least the reduction in utilities some months back was a way of government reducing the burden on Ghanaians. If you're a parent and have your ward in a senior high school, you should know that you're a beneficiary. But as I said, we're hypocrites and will never admit to enjoying some good. Josh Coffee Stone says, this is the real state of the economy. One president, 50 families economy, one corruption, one clearance, one something, one nothing, one chart, one graph, one scam, one Ponzi, $1, 5 escapes, 1 liter, 5 Ghana fuel, one road, one demonstration. Let's just wait for this one. So that's what Josh Coffee Stone on Facebook thinks is the real state of the economy. Haj Elias Tamale says, it was a reassuring and a budget of hope. Indeed, it met the expectations of many Ghanaians. Indeed, the government, Akufo-Addo, has achieved more and deserves another term to continue the good works. Jeff Brown says it's another empty budget. Carl Stana says it's a 419 budget. Scammers are plenty in Ghana. Sebu says, nothing in our pockets. They have rather succeeded taking more from our pockets and leaving us broke. No jobs, and we have to struggle to survive. Bad roads and too much talk for nothing being done. We are disappointed. Zakari Muhammad says, I pity those they call themselves educated elites. They're still fooling themselves. How can you support free education without any proper implementation? Muhammad Abdul Aziz says, only responsible people understand and appreciate what the finance minister said. And Samuel KD says, I don't have a child in SHS. Teachers incentive reduced, responsibility allowance taken off, no promotion allowance, no transfer grants. I have no vacation, so where's the money in my pocket? Fabian Baidu says, 0 GHCDs. In fact, they're even owing me because of the CST tax, scraping of extra classes, stopping private extra classes. These have rather taken money out of my pocket. Christopher Mensah says, according to the government of the day, the best thing that ever happened to the Ghanaian people is their free SHS. When our parents used to pay our school fees, they still gave us pocket money. So the finance minister and his cousin Akufo-Addo will not be allowed to hold Ghanaians to ransom because of one single policy. This one's from Kwame Zion, who says, my sister is enjoying free SHS and the money I was going to use on her is in my pocket now. Ghana is working again. And Stephen Sassy says, indirectly, most of us have benefited from that amount. Nursing training allowance, free SHS, and so on. Now, November 14th, World Diabetes Day, is celebrated universally. Now, this day is to create awareness. Here are some top 10 lifestyle tips on how to live a better and a healthier lifestyle. At a well-managed, number one is a well-managed diet with a balance of carbs, protein, fats, and fiber. The second one is that foods that are rich in protein and fiber can be helpful. Almonds, fresh fruits and vegetables, walnuts, seeds, sprouts, whole grains, etc. All examples of food rich in fiber. Number three is to check your blood sugar level several times in a day to ensure that your numbers are fiber. Okay. Number four is that the diet needs to be modified according to the severity of the disease, a person's weight, and eating habits. Number five, avoid refined carbs like Madeira and refined sugar. High-fat foods also need to be off the table for diabetics. 6, include more complex carbs in your diet. And number 7, stay away from aerated drinks and beverages if you have diabetes. Number 8, avoid exercising on an empty stomach unless the blood sugar levels are under control. Have a light snack before workout if you have diabetes and work out in the morning. Number 9 is to quit smoking and alcohol. And number 10 is to exercise regularly and be physically active. And you make sure that you include strength in training your fitness routine. So those are some top 10 healthy tips on how to stay healthy and physically fit if you are diabetic, and also just as a normal human being, if you just want to make sure that you don't get diabetes, these are some of the things that you can do. Now, it isn't always easy to recognize the signs of mental and emotional abuse. Psychological abuse involves a person's attempts to frighten, control, or isolate you. It's in the abuser's words and actions, as well as their persistence in behaviors. Now, Shoko and her panelists were talking about emotional abuse and how to identify the signs.
Emotional abuse, I think, is not such a new concept, but it's a concept that is now being spoken about. First, it was more concentrated on physical abuse, but okay. Emotional abuse is actually really, I think, more painful, a bit more painful than physical abuse.
More painful,
yeah,
even though it's not physical.
Because it has something to do with
what's your understanding of emotional abuse?
Emotional abuse, like, okay, so emotional abuse is when somebody close to you neglects you or physically talks to you in a certain way that demeans you as a person.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what emotional abuse is, in my opinion.
Let me come to you, Jasmine.
Yes. No.
Did you know about, I beg your pardon, did you know about emotional abuse prior to this conversation?
You know, I don't know if I should say this, but when you called me, to invite me so we talk about emotional abuse, I was so relieved because, like you said, everyone is more aware about physical abuse than emotional abuse. I believe emotional abuse has been there since the ages, and it's rather unfortunate that it's a difficult thing to talk about, and emotional abuse cuts really deep, even than physical abuse, in my opinion.
What do you understand emotional abuse to be?
Emotional abuse is when, whoever it is, it could be a relative, it could be a spouse, it could be even at your workplace. It's when you are abused emotionally, not physically, and these could take different forms. Talking down on you, teasing you, bullying you, or just probably seeing something negative about a person and you keep hitting on this, and like we're human beings, it will get to a point when it will get to us.
You will break.
Yes, you will break, and I think that is more, in my opinion, is more deep than physical abuse.
It hurts deeper than physical abuse.
Deeper than physical abuse.
How do you know that you are being emotionally abused?
You see, the mind is a very powerful thing. And when somebody talks to you in a certain way or does not talk to you in a certain way, you actually get that energy and you think about it. It worries you. You start to act according to what the person is saying. It worries your whole mental being. You might either withdraw from certain people, or you might just shut down. And mostly emotional abuse, a lot of people shut down more than react in a positive way. So when you are feeling like you need to push back, or you are feeling extremely unsure about yourself because of what certain groups of people say or do not say about you, then you should know that your psyche is being played on, and that is when you recognize emotional abuse.
Wow.
But I also feel like even teasing is a form of emotional abuse.
You don't consider it just playing?
No. What are you teasing this person about? This person's got a big head, or this person's, like the doc said, this person has got K.
No, which one is the doctor? The doctor isn't here yet, but she's on her way.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like she said, yeah. Why are you teasing the person? To what end?
They're just playing.
No, but I mean, you won't tease someone if they've got straight legs. Why? Like, so obviously you've seen this person with a bow leg. It's not something that, let's say, we are using. It's not normal in our eyes. So obviously you know that it's going to worry the person. Yeah. You know it. It's like teasing is emotional abuse. Okay. Bullying is emotional abuse.
Okay, and it's very common even with children.
Yeah,
you know.
I was just about to say, I think it affects people in the stages. I remember when I was in junior high school, because of my skin color, I was being told that I was being called all sorts of names. And you remember that time we had something like a slam book. And it goes around and you say, oh, who's the prettiest girl in town? Who is the ugliest girl? And every time like the slam book went, there were just a group of girls who would write my name. And constantly, and what that did to me is that I stopped, like, I think mentally I developed health problems because of the constant teasing of my skin color. And that, at that time, you wouldn't really know it's like emotional abuse. Like, my mother would get worried, why are you always in the hospital? But I was working on my psyche until they homeschooled me. That's when I actually got better.
They had to pull you out of school.
Yeah, they had to pull me out of school to homeschool me. So I think for like the last 2 years of like junior high school, I was at home being schooled. So I think it comes in a stage, then it develops into like when you enter into relationships too, the kind of relationships you enter. Because if you don't feel validated within yourself, you realize that you end up going into relationships that, you constantly seek approval. And if the person you are with is either not giving you approval, or is shutting you down, or is talking down at you, or is neglecting love from you, I think these things really start from childhood.
And that's how to identify some emotional and mental abuse. That conversation was on Strong and Sassy on Joy FM. You can go to the Joy 99.7 FM Facebook page to check out more of that conversation. On that note, I'm going to take a quick breather. When we come back, we have Tech Talk. It's time for Tech Talk, and the Joy's Geek Squad discuss the Linux operating system free and open source software. Check it out.
Software, for the developers, it's easy. It's the source code. You see the software running in front of you. You can browse. You can do whatever you want to do. There's some source code. Somebody's written some lines of code. He's put it together. He's compiled it. You're just seeing some nice stuff, but somebody's written the stuff behind it. Normally, this is top secret. Microsoft will never share its own. But we in the open source community, it's out there for everybody. You don't have to pay for it. In fact, if you say your source code is free and open source, you must give it out.
Okay. So why would a company like Microsoft make their software, should I say closed source? Is it right for me to say closed source?
Call it closed source.
So is it, why would Microsoft or other companies decide to make their software closed?
Okay, so that was Bill Gates' strategy. And from our point of view, prior to Bill Gates, software was free, because, prior to him, computers were huge machines, very expensive. They used to fill rooms, and therefore the companies, IBM and the rest, used to give the software free. So of course, when the era of PCs came, so he introduced this thing where you have to pay for software. But of course, Richard Martin Stallman, who started this whole free software movement, said, why? We need to be able to share. We need to be able to give it around. And because software has something called bugs, there are mistakes, little things. But when there are lots of people looking at it, then of course you can correct all these things that may be in it.
Okay, so does this mean that open...
Now, every Friday for the past 2 weeks, the Super Morning Show on Joy FM has been doing things a little bit different. Enough of the politics, the MPs, the experts in this and that. How about a chit-chat with your favorite radio, TV personalities, musicians and artists about relationships, love and life and the likes, you know. The first episode was about mistakes women make in relationships, and here's an excerpt.
Yeah, I want this, I want that, I want that, I want that. Half the time she's not given a quarter of what she's asking for. And when you speak to a lot of women, you get to realize they are telling you, and he's not doing it. I asked, okay, so you want him to do all that. What about you? What are you doing? Men have needs too.
What annoys me the most is when they accuse you of cheating and you know you've not done it. Yet they are saying that, oh, my instincts tell me that you've done it. That's what they bore me. The evidence might be there, but that's not the right evidence. They are misusing the evidence. No, you are misusing. You have caught me, but you have not caught me well. Abuse of evidence. Yeah, abuse of evidence. You've caught me, but you've not caught me well. It doesn't well.
What about the men? They also make mistakes, don't they? Well, this is what the panelists had to say.
Men, when they're friends with women, just ordinary friends, they protect them,
friends
they
with
defend,
women,
they defend them.
Is that
they
another
say,
mistake men make?
I find that men will protect, defend their female friends, but when it comes to their partner or their girlfriend or their wife, then they start fault finding and saying, you know, you're this way or that way. But if I'm just friends with Nanaba, oh, she's my bestie, and I can talk to Nanaba about everything and anything, and I can listen to Nanaba. When you come home, you can't transfer that friendship to your wife.
He says a man being friends with a woman is like keeping chicken as a pet.
How?
One day you might eat it. And I was like, how?
We want space, and the women, they're too clingy.
No, the thing is,
we all do need
everyone needs space, and I think we should respect it when people ask for space, because I noticed there's a mistake a lot of women also make. When the man asks for space, they assume that he's seeing somebody else.
Or asking for a breakup.
Or asking for a breakup.
No.
You know, we should respect people when they ask for space.
All right, joining me in studio is the morning man, Kojo Youngson. Good morning.
Good morning.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm great.
All right, cool. So, I mean, this conversation you guys have been having on the Super Morning Show has been causing a lot of controversy on social media. People are just fired up. Yes. What started it? Where did it all come from?
Well, like most great conversations, they started with a conversation amongst the team.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking about some of these traditional roles that men and women play, and it turned into a list of problems and mistakes that you know each of the genders make in relationships, and we thought we'd better bring the whole nation into the conversation.
Yeah.
And boy, did it become fiery.
Yeah. All right. So tomorrow is another Friday. What should we expect?
So we have the face-off.
Okay.
Tomorrow we're bringing the men and the women together. We're sitting them across from each other, and we're trashing out our issues once and for all. But we want to bring out a couple of the themes that arose during the individual conversations. So we realized that there is a question about traditional roles.
Okay.
You know, does a woman want a man who goes out and makes brings home the bacon and fixes the light bulb, or do they want to see him in an apron in the kitchen, taking out the trash and sweeping the kitchen? We want to understand whether these things have an effect on a relationship. Do women find men who play non-traditional roles less attractive?
Okay.
And how about the opposite? How do men feel about the women who wear the trousers and so forth? So we want to bring some of these things out. The budget has just been read.
Yes.
So let's ask a few questions. Who should be carrying the bill? You know, when the economy starts to take a pinch, how does that affect relationships?
Yeah.
So we want to bring all of these in with the two sides across the table and see how we can resolve this matter once and for all.
Okay, so who can we expect to see?
So we're going to have John Dumelo.
Okay.
He'll be in the studio with EL. And actually, we might have a surprise. We've been speaking to a politician, a well-known politician, who might come through with a few of his own ideas to help make the day memorable. And then, of course, from the ladies, we're going to have Karen Ajiman Prempe, who was on the panel last week. She'll be there with Jackie Ankra.
Okay.
So it's going to be quite sparkling.
It's going to be very exciting. Okay, so what time should we catch you?
Please tune in to the Super Morning Show from 5:50 in the morning.
Yeah.
Stay tuned until 10 o'clock, and somewhere in the middle, we're going to bring you the relationship conversation.
And it's going to be an exciting one, so make sure you do join on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We're Joy 99.7 FM with the hashtag JoySMS. We'd like to hear your comments, your feedback and anything you'd like to say and contribute to the conversation. And that's how we end Joy News Interactive here on the Joy News channel on DSTV channel 41 and GoTV channel 144. On Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, we're Joy News on TV. Continue the conversation. I'm Apito CBD. See you same time, same place tomorrow.